Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. Chip Januszewski's on vacation this week, but with us is Bill Correll from our sister podcast, Lighting the Candle. Bill, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Eric. I hope Chip's getting the weather that we're getting because it's absolutely gorgeous today. There is nothing that I would change, not one iota. Perfect. How's your day going?
My day is going well. Again, as you said, we're having some fantastic weather. Chip is enjoying his day out on the golf course, and we're enjoying our podcast because we've got some fantastic guests this week.
Yes, we do.
We've got Pam DonAroma and Damian Williams from Futures Inc. Futures Inc. is a nonprofit that helps folks with disabilities. So, Pam, Damian, welcome.
Thank you. We're glad to be here today.
So, Pam, as the founder, can you tell our listeners a little bit about what Futures Inc. does and how you got started?
Okay. Futures is a nonprofit. We started in about 1990 as part of an innovative program of the University of Connecticut. In 1995, we were privatized. We launched the first community-based services in Connecticut. And so we started working with individuals as they were transitioning out of Mansfield. And then in 1995, our program got too big for the Center for Excellence, and they decided to privatize us, which was a great thing because we were very entrepreneurial. And sometimes it's a challenge to be. And we incorporated the first community-based school in the state of Connecticut. And so we work with students from the ages of 14 to 22. And our philosophy is that we need to keep kids in their own community and not to segregate them, that if we want them to transition out at 22 and be part of society, we need to start early on. So we only provide individualized services. And that, again, is part of our mission and what we believe in terms of our values. And because of the work that we do, we also look at all aspects of supporting an individual, from supporting them in community living, supporting them in employment, as well as education. And many of the individuals we work with had some difficulty getting competitive employment. So 12 years ago, we also incorporated the very first social enterprise in Connecticut in terms of a legal entity. Now you hear it all the time as a social enterprise, but we did the first incorporated one in Berlin, and we opened up Good Cause Gifts. We now have 3 locations. We have Good Cause Gifts in Berlin. We have Good Cause Gifts at the Hospital for Special Care, and we also have our newest location, which is in West Hartford Center. In addition to that, we decided a few years back that it was time to expand our offerings in terms of and experiences students can have and individuals with disabilities in terms of competitive employment. And we incorporated the kitchen, which is out of Middletown, and we have 2 commercial kitchens. And we now run the cafe at the Hospital for Special Care. We also have a hot dog cart. And we have a grab and go in Middletown. So we're looking at expanding that initiative as well in order to create more opportunities for individuals that just challenges in getting competitive employment.
Fantastic. So, Damian, how did you join the organization? How long have you been there?
I've been with Futures for about 13 years. I started out, I have a finance background, so I started out in the finance department as payroll. I'm currently the CFO and executive director. Pam has recently appointed me to that position. And so I've been here for a while. In addition to that, I also have a son who's on the autism spectrum. And so, just by chance, I happened to be a part of an organization that was doing some really, really tremendous work. And as Pam will tell you, she kind of refers to us as the best kept secret. And so, when I came on board, it obviously was no longer a secret to me. I got to learn firsthand about some of the wonderful work they were doing, some of the really meaningful and impactful work. that they were doing here at Futures. And I guess it's a testament to how much I believe in it that, my son is now part of the program.
So, Eric, if I may, Pam, I'm real
Absolutely.
interested. I'm real interested if you could just like make up a generic case of when someone got started with you, what need did they have that wasn't being met somewhere else that you could actually slide in there and make sure that they were supported and grown? And then how long was that individual with you? We're making this up start to finish because I'm sure you've had many, many hundreds of folks come through the program.
Our first student his name was Angel. We like to refer to him as our Angel.
Sure.
He was somebody from the Hartford school system that this was back in 1993 that created some real challenges, and he had a history of gang involvement and a lot of behavioral mental health issues. And the school didn't know what to do with him. And he had an advocate that said, well, you've got to do something. He's entitled to an education.
Yeah.
So we started working with him back in 1993 and creating an individualized program. And this was prior to us becoming a state approved school. So we were doing some individualized work with him. He graduated high school with a high school diploma. And he's someone who has an intellectual disability, so he still receives some services from the Department of Developmental Services, and we still support him. He has a long-term relationship with an individual that works part-time with us, is just recently retired. He was a fireman in the town that Angel lived, and they formed a wonderful relationship. And so he became his support staff and continues to be his support staff since 1993.
Just a follow-up, the kitchen that you talked about, and then also the cart and the grab and go. Are these opportunities for folks that you're working with to have a hands-on experience in working, or what's the point with those three outreaches?
Well, it varies. First of all, we have 4 full-time professional chefs and 1 part-time that have been professionally trained. We recently had 1 student that was working in the kitchen. This is an example of somebody who came through us for her school program, and she was very interested in baking. So her entire program was designed to teach her how to do baking as well as cake decorating, so that when she graduated, that she can get a competitive job. Now, she's one of many students that may have some experiences in the kitchen. However, the kitchen also creates competitive employment opportunities for people. So we have some individuals that work only on our Good Paws biscuits. So we have a line of dog biscuits that we distribute online as well as in different locations in the Middletown area. And the micro enterprises are one of our newer initiatives. And this is to create a micro enterprise opportunity for individuals that are looking for something different to do, or may have some challenges kind of showing up consistently or whatever. So this becomes their own micro enterprise. So they work on the hot dog cart in Middletown, and we're working on that being their business for the day. So depending on how many hot dogs they sell will eventually determine how much money they earn. Other individuals that are working in the kitchen receive competitive employment.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I assume Good Cause Gifts works the same way as the kitchens do. It gives people training opportunities, and all of these also help raise revenues for the organization, don't they?
Correct. Everybody at Good Cause Gifts, however, is an employee of the store, so they receive competitive employment. So that's not a micro enterprise. We are beginning to launch more and more micro enterprises as a way of creating more opportunities that are community-based and are in line with the individual's interest. So we've got we had somebody, and Damian, maybe you can jump in. We have this wonderful woman who happens to be an attorney, Darlene Bohr, who is working with us, who is also a parent of a young man who's on the spectrum. And she has a real passion for identifying what people love to do. And so she has just a real knack of identifying what they're interested in and then turning that into a micro enterprise. And we had somebody who, he didn't think he was interested in anything, and come to find out he was all about ducks. He really loves ducks, and is highly offended that people that people feed ducks bread, because evidently bread, I didn't know this, bread is poison for ducks. So to make a long story short, they created a whole product of duck food that that they're marketing now to stores around Hubbard Park and Meriden and some other places where there tends to be a lot of ducks.
They get hungry, those ducks.
They get hungry, but I think it's being really creative and finding out what somebody's passion is and how we can support them and finding joy in the work that they're doing. And I think that's really been sort of the heart and soul of what we want to be doing.
I really like it. And do you have a similar story for the dog biscuits?
I have a similar story. I could tell you the individual that really sort of was the motivating force behind the first Good Cause gifts. Yeah. And this is one of my best friends. Her son happens to have intellectual disabilities and has elective mutism and autism. And, she was tired of him being in other programs where he was kind of sitting in the corner, and she didn't know what was going on during the day. And she kept saying, look, you got to create something, you got to do something. And so, we started off literally with just a tiny little gift shop, in the back of a little strip mall. And Andy he just really took off. And right now he is our assistant manager in our Berlin store. So Andy is he's like the mayor of Berlin. Everybody knows him, and that's what was really important. She wanted him to be an integral part of the community, so that people that he knows that comes into the store can say, "Hi, Andy, how you doing today?" And he's really thrived, knowing that he has a real strong presence in an important position and a purpose of why he needs to get up in the morning, and he of course likes getting paid.
I absolutely love that. I love the fact that it showcases not just the abilities of these people, but it shows the power of entrepreneurship and how, you don't have to be a tech whiz or or even, well off to get into a business and the benefits that that's had for them.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so exciting. I mean, my passion is creating businesses. So I like creating businesses, and I think with Damian's support, we have a wonderful team of leaders at Futures. We're very lucky. We run our nonprofit like a business, and we truly believe that good social service needs to partner with business models in order to really deliver the best quality services that people deserve in our communities.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's fantastic what you're doing. Now, obviously, over the last 18 months, the entire world has gone through some changes. How did Futures Inc. deal with the pandemic, and what changes did you have to make, to keep up?
Well, I have to say that I was so proud of our team at Futures, because, of course, everybody was nervous, particularly in the beginning before the vaccine, about leaving your home, being around other people. But we support kids at high risk and families that were really struggling with really challenging individuals in their home. And so, we became very creative and provided outreach. We did some remote services. We made sure everybody had laptops or other devices, which we delivered to their homes. And we scheduled people throughout the day. We had all kinds of creative activities that were being done remotely. We hired a yoga instructor. We did arts and crafts activities. that we delivered to each of their homes, and they would do it, they would do it on Zoom all together. But in addition to that, some people just really needed the live services. And so we continue to do that. And many of the families that we work with are also food insecure. And so they really depend. We have a chef at our school that is a professionally trained chef that makes meals for our kids every day, because it's, for some of them, it is the only hot meal or main meal they get all day. So we couldn't go without being able to address that. So our team continued to deliver, lunches to kids' houses in Hartford. And you can't just deliver a lunch to a kid if they have a brother and a sister. Hey, I grew up in an Italian family. I mean, that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, we needed to figure out, who was in the house, what we needed to do. And, and we kept our commercial bakery busy. We did, boxes of chocolate chip cookies. We did anything we could think of. And during the holiday was really just a real meaningful time. I have to say it was probably one of the most meaningful holidays I've had, in that, the team really came together, and we had a lot of people donate. So we had people donate not only gifts to those that we support, but also full holiday meals and then some, so that people didn't go without in a time that was just really difficult for all of us.
Eric, a quick question, PM. If I understand correctly, you're preparing folks in your program to go out and hold jobs in the Maine community and at large. Is that so?
Correct.
And
some go on to college.
Yeah,
some go
for
on
sure.
Community colleges, it varies.
It sounds like when they're in your, in your orbit, shall we say, they get to find out what they really love about life and then go after it with vigor. So, how is that working in terms of placement or getting folks moved on? Do you get enough interest? Do you get enough employers out there that are looking forward to the folks that you're bringing to market?
Of course, right now, finding employment is a lot easier than it was a few years ago. I mean, everybody's
Sure.
looking for employees. I think it depends on the individuals that we're supporting. I think employers in general are just wonderful. We have between 30 and 40 employers in the Hartford area that allow our students to go in and to really start developing the social skills necessary to be employed. And that's really where they're really lacking. And that's where the support needs to happen early on, is things like you need to show up on time. You need to dress appropriately. You need to kind of be a little polite at work. So I think, we have employers that are wonderful. And then we have some students that, we have one student that, he got his CDL license and now, is a truck driver and owns his own home in Florida. So it depends on the person and their support needs. The thing about Futures that I find really interesting is that we work with individuals that have significant support needs because of their level of autism, they have intellectual disabilities, and so they need a lot of one-on-one support. But we also have people that, are college bound, that have been traumatized, that have post-traumatic stress disorder, and they really need that one-on-one. Our whole program is built on the importance of relationships and the importance of a personal connection, and how that kind of connection can truly change lives. And without that, and Damian has been speaking to this, so I'll steal his comment, that we don't just touch lives, we change lives, because we're mentoring somebody, and we're spending a lot of time with that person, knowing what their pain is, knowing what their support needs are, and hopefully providing hope and giving them the support they need to be part of their community and to find happiness in their life.
Excellent.
That's terrific. Now, of course, all programs like this require money, they require donations. I understand now you've got your major fundraiser, your gala coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And also talk about how your development team had to adapt during COVID.
Oh, sorry.
Before we
This will
get
be,
to
I believe, our
the,
seventh or
before we
eighth
get,
year. Damien, are
before we
you?
get to the gala, though,
No, go ahead,
Sam,
Damien.
there was, I have to give a big shout out to a lot of the folks that made, our transition and maintaining our success a reality. Normally, unfortunately, we spend a lot of times fighting with the state of Connecticut and DDS and the funders, the people who, and advocating for our clients and the people we care for. But I have to say in this instance, DDS, their whole commission, and they really were there for us. We didn't have to beat down any doors. They had funds, COVID funds available, easy to access to kind of maintain things here at the offices, whether it was PPE, maintaining staffing levels. They really did a great job. Them along with partners like the Hartford Foundation, the DeVito Foundation, the State Department of Education, who, by the way, gave us a huge grant, to fund one of the new initiatives we have. We just purchased a new building for our school, and they've given us funding to create some renovations along with some some computer lab. So in most cases, you find, it was hard to find resources, but I have to say during COVID, everyone in our state really stepped up, and even to the point of, when it came to vaccinations, I think our organization saw an abnormally high rate of vaccinations. I would, when I looked at it last, I think we only had like, a handful of people, 4 or 5, who
We
did
have no
not,
one now.
that didn't get vaccinated. And so, I credit that with some of the healthcare advice that we got early on, some of that education, and we kind of made a concerted effort to pass it along to our staff, because I know a lot of people are having some issues, kind of conveying the importance of the vaccine, but internally, we did a great job, and I'm really happy about that.
We did want to mention, though, our annual gala,
Yep.
which I think you were referring to. Last year we had to go hybrid. The year prior to that, we had about 500 people in attendance. We have a fashion show that we do at the AquaTurf, and Laura Hutchinson and Brian Sparrows are our MCs, and they do. And Brian both used to work with Channel 8. Brian is still with Channel 8. And our models have included, the Lieutenant Governor, state reps, the Mayor of West Hartford, as well as some of the individuals that we support. And it's a very, very fun, successful event. We literally bring the entire store to the AquaTurf, so it's a very festive occasion. People come in and they shop for the holidays, as well as the AquaTurf does an incredible job with the food, and we have a open bar for beer and wine. This last year we went hybrid, or not hybrid, but last year we had to go virtual. This year we're going hybrid. So we will not be having 500 individuals. I believe our goal is to have 300, and we're hoping that things go well. We are, monitoring the situation and seeing what happens, but we're also prepared. We have a videographer, and we have a sponsor for our videographer, which is Comcast. And we are prepared if need be to go 100% virtual, but we're hoping for hybrid.
Sounds good. So Eric, I've got one more question, because I think we're getting kind of close to our half hour, but
Yep. But go ahead.
I think people need to know how to get in touch with you. How do we find your website? And is there more information on both the programs, or how people can become supporters and or contributors, or work side by side and lock arms with you?
Well, we do have a website. It's under construction right now, but it should be up fairly soon. But we still have our website up. It's futures-ct.org. We can be reached at 860-347-5099. We have a donation button on our probably on any of this. We've had a number of wonderful corporate sponsors. NBT Bank just donated $10,000 towards our gala, which we're very, very grateful for. We are also looking at businesses that might be interested in giving gifts during the holidays that have a cause. We also deliver. We have a transit vehicle that creates another job opportunity for an individual with a disability. So during the holidays, we'll take your shopping list and we'll fulfill your shopping list, and we'll deliver it to your business. So if you want to make sure that your employees get a gift with a cause or a gift card, you can go on the Good Cause Gifts shopping site, which is goodcausegifts.org, and we have a shopping presence online as well. And we also have the kitchen, which you can order some baked goods.
Excellent.
Fantastic. And yes, as Bill said, we are coming up on the end of our time. So thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to make sure our listeners know about Futures Inc.?
No, we really want to thank you for the opportunity to have more people know about us. Again, I think Damian started off in the beginning by saying we are the best kept secret. And so we are looking to become more and more visible. We're a growing organization. We have a dynamite team. So we hope that we can continue to get growing support from the community. And we thank all of you for giving us this chance to share our story.
We're so glad you could join us. So, Bill, what do you think is the big takeaway for our listeners this week?
Well, I think there's two stories going on here. The first one is when you dream, it makes it easier for people who come in your orbit to dream as well. That's number one. That's really huge with Pam. I can see that. And then I think number two is that anytime that you are absolutely madly in love with anything that you do, that you would rather do that than almost anything else, it's catching, And when it is, that means that you have got no place to go but except to be a success. And every success comes from lots of little failures along the way. And we heard Damian say earlier, lots of conversations with people that fund things, and just don't ever give up. Never quit. That's the third thing. You get 3 for the price of 2, Eric.
Yeah, I think for me, the big takeaways, one is the power of passion. It shows, you may think you have a problem, an obstacle that you can't overcome, but with enough passion, you can get through it. You can do more than you think you can. And these folks over at Futures Inc. are showing that even with developmental disabilities, these folks are capable of doing so much more than people assume. And it gives them a great opportunity. And the second takeaway for me is the power of entrepreneurship. That's giving folks a focus. It's giving them the opportunity to be self-sufficient and giving them the opportunity to explore things they love in a way they might not have otherwise been able to. So I think those are the big takeaways for me. And I love what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And the sky's the limit.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, you too, Pam. Thanks, Damian. Thanks, Eric.
You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us as well as lighting the candle every week at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also find us at the Apple Podcast Store, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. We'll see you then.